can't see you, but I'm going to imagine that you guys are sitting here. And these are a bit unusual times. In normal times, we would be sharing the same room, and people will be able to ask questions and things like that. So unfortunately it's not possible in an immediate way, but it will be great to hear you. If you have any comments or questions, that'll be amazing. I would like it to be as interactive as possible. That'll be great. First of all, I wanted to thank Coastal and the people of the festival for inviting me to do this workshop. I'm very honored. And this is my third or fourth year playing at a jazz festival. And I have a quartet performance this coming Wednesday at Performance Works in Granville Island. Last night I played a show at Ironworks, which was great. So, I'm going to introduce myself quickly. So, those of you who don't know me, my name is Itamar Erez. I'm a composer and performer, and I'm playing my music either on the piano or the guitar, sometimes both at the same time, as we're going to see. And my music is influenced by many, many kinds of music, many places all over the world that I visited, that I toured in, that I lived in. Spent my younger years in Israel, and I moved to Europe later on to continue studying composition, and then later on I came to Canada. I live here in Vancouver, and so as I'm saying, both the guitar and piano really informed my music over the last 20 years. And I keep shifting my focus. At the moment I'm playing a lot more piano than I'm playing guitar, but it's a kind of a dance between the two instruments. So, basically the piano gives me an opportunity. I have so many keys in front of me, and I can use my 10 fingers on the keys. So, it allows me to create really rich chords and more voices that I would be able to do on the guitar. So, on the other hand, I'm trying to bring the richness of the piano into the guitar playing as much as I can. Many times people ask me, so what are you more, a guitarist or pianist? And at this point, I have no clear answer for that. And I would like to start right away playing a video. So I'd like to share my screen with you guys. And this could be a nice starting point describing what I just talked about. So this is, it's called Endless Cycle, and it was recorded with my quartet a couple of years ago at the Piat Hall in Vancouver. Let's listen to it. Okay, so yeah, this is just an example of how I can put both together. It's a tricky thing of holding one hand, keeping a pattern, and left hand is playing and improvising. So that was a kind of a discovery I maybe about a couple of years ago, that it is possible. It's kind of limited, but it was fun to do. And the music is very world kind of influence with some jazz influences as well. Any comments or questions from people who are listening to this will be great to know. Otherwise, we can just continue moving on. That was called Endless Cycle, and it's on my 2019 Mi Alegria CD that's available on all the digital stores. Okay, so I'm just going to move ahead, unless there is any comment or question. So I would like to show, in the last year or so, with COVID and just being at home, I spend more time working in my home studio and recording stuff on Logic, and that's a digital workstation software. And I learned a lot during this time and developed some new music. And one of the recent releases I did was is called "The Way You Look Tonight." That's an old standard, and I made a guitar version of it. And one of the things I took from the piano is the many voices. I try to do the same with the guitar. So basically, I had something like 10 or 11 guitars recorded separately and put all together to achieve kind of a rich harmonic language. So I would like to share with you guys my Logic window, so you can see all the different tracks that I created this. So the melody is probably very familiar to a lot of you jazz fans. I'm just going to solo the melody, so you'll just hear the. Anyone knows this standards? This tune? All right, I see some nodding. All right, and then I started to thicken the music with more and more layers of guitars. Let's look and listen to this. And that's it. That was that. So, if I played that tune on a guitar solo, I would never be able to play so many voices and explore these harmonies in that kind of way. Any comments or questions? Please, Zach, please let me know. Cool.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay.
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, cool. So, awesome. So on Wednesday, I'm going to be playing in a couple of new pieces that I wrote over the last year and a half. And this one doesn't have a final name yet. There are a few suggestions that I have. And it's surprisingly quite a simple tune, but as always, there is something. There are different layers to the music, so I think that's something that I like about music. I like it to have different layers. It can be rhythmically, harmonically, obviously. So I'm going to play something on the piano.
Itamar, we
yes.
have some questions if you want to.
Oh, absolutely, anytime.
Especially regarding using Logic.
Yes.
John Cartwright wants to ask, where do you start with ideas? Do you put them in Logic first? Or do you have workbook of ideas that are, and you flesh them out? And then you bring them to Logic?
That's a great idea. So, working with Logic is very new for me. So just over the last 2 years, I've been playing around with it. So usually my work, the way I work, would be sitting at a piano, usually jotting some ideas, improvising. I would bring as much of ideas to the piece, and slowly kind of taking out whatever is not relevant anymore until I have a clear idea of what it is. And later on, I choose to notate it. And while I'm notating it, it goes through another phase of taking out what's unnecessary, improving what's not so clear in the music. And last thing, if I want, I would record it either with fellow musicians or on my computer to have an actual audio of the song. But over the last year or two, this has changed, and I found myself many times reversing the process, so actually improvising straight on Logic and actually composing on Logic. So that's very new for me. And then the process is reversed. I will have to take the audio and then think, okay, how am I going to notate it, right? And when I notate it, again, it goes through a process of, making it better, because it's not, eventually people are going to play it, so I need to make it relevant to the player, to the instrument. So, each instrument has its own kind of nature, and, if I'm writing for a flute or a clarinet, it will be different than writing for trumpet or things like that. So it's been really interesting and quite challenging depending on the music, to go from a recording into notation and not the other way around. So I think I can share something with you. So it was a commission. This was a commission from Son of Dragon Ensemble here in Vancouver. It's a great mixed ensemble with Chinese instruments and Western classical instruments. So we had 2 erhus, Chinese flute, Chinese guitar, percussion, I played the classical guitar, there was cello, and I think that's it. So, I got a commission to compose something. I didn't have so many ideas, and I just, I started improvising on, mostly on Logic, on the piano, and basically the composition started on the computer. So, and I have quite good samples on my computer, so it's, yeah, and then the challenge was how to notate it in the best way. So that took a long time to actually notate it. Let's listen a little bit to that. And this song is called Dragons, and as common to a lot of my music, there is a lot of odd timing. It keeps changing the timings, and I would like to share the video of this Logic window with you guys, so you can see and listen, and it sounds like that. That's Erhu. So we have 5/4, 3/4. There's a little bit of a blues there for the Erhu. So yeah, that's an example of something. I just want to show you the score if you're interested to have a look a little bit. So that was the hard work after, is listening to each voice and notating it and improving whatever needs to be improved. And that was a lot of work, but it was very enjoyable at the same time. All right. Yeah, any questions about this, about the way I work? Any comments about the music?
If you want to go back to that, I mean, we did just hear that piece in this very interesting, very different from the one before, but Vincent wanted to know in the piece before this how you chose the notes, like when did you choose a piano to play sequence and when did you choose guitar?
So are we talking about what piece?
I'm sorry, the piece right before the one.
So the guitar piece, the way you look tonight. So I don't understand the question. How did I?
So the question is, how are those notes chosen between piano and guitar? And I think Vincent here asking about like the like what you're thinking about when you compose,
Uh-huh.
the voicings. It's
Uh,
yeah.
wow, that's a tricky thing to answer. So in that piece, I started with the melody, obviously. And, I approached it on the guitar in a similar way that I would approach it on the piano. So, on the piano, I would do things that I can't do on the guitar because it only has 6 strings, and the fingerings is really awkward if you want to use clusters. And I really like seconds in my music. I like those clusters, those small intervals in my music. It's something very very difficult on the guitar. It's so if I take things like that, I can't do it on a guitar. So I was trying to keep voice leading so that the movements are clear of the different voices. So I don't remember exactly what I was doing. And so on. So it's kind of a thicker harmony than I ever will be able to play on a guitar. So having logic and having the possibility to record multiple layers was a fun thing. I always hear more voices than I can actually play, and I guess that's a composer thing, a composer problem or whatever. It's always hearing more. Yeah, I hope that answers the question and gives a little bit of an insight. So Wednesday, 2:30, I'm playing with my quartet. So we're going to premiere a couple of new songs. And one of them is, I started talking about before, is at the moment it's called May, because I wrote it in May. It's looking for titles, but I remember rehearsing with one of the guys just recently, and it's such a simple tune, such a simple harmony, and he was like, how did you think about it? And I was like, it's just a C chord, F chord. It's very, very simple. So I'll try to play it just on the piano. So, and then we can talk a little bit about it. So. That's the main idea. So can someone tell me what is a time signature? Those of you who are musicians, obviously. what is it? So it's, it feels like a 4/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we can also hear it as a 6/8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. But then there's another layer that's happening in the music. So now, any idea what happened? So can someone? So basically, I introduced a 5 there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Next section. Back. So, yeah, so that's one example how something sounds really simple, but it has more layers into it. If you guys want, I can play you. So this started actually as a logic thing. So I did this Berkeley School of Music course in logic to learn more about logic, and one of the assignment was to create a MIDI track. And that's what I did. Let me just find.
Mark,
Yeah.
Did you want to answer some questions?
Yeah.
Or
Anytime.
One comment.
Yeah.
One comment. Vincent wants to say, great polymeter. I have to agree.
Who said that? Sorry.
Vincent.
Vincent. Oh, thanks, Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were asking what is the time signature, you really had me thinking for a long time.
Yeah.
I did not get it till you explained it. Gavin wants to ask: Are you thinking of this as the whole thing like as 5/8 or as a compound meter?
So I think of this. You know, I was talking to Kevin, my drummer, and what is it? Is it a 5? Is it a 4? Is it a 6? And the answer is yes. So basically, I want to hear all three of them all the time, and that's what's exciting and interesting about it, right? So it's exactly that. How do you say dichotomy? This unclear, and you can follow one or the other, or you can hear all of them. So I really enjoy that in my music. So I hope that that answers the question. Let me see if you guys want. I can open that. I can open this so you can hear what it sounded like before I brought it to musicians, before I notated it. It's kind of cool. It sounds like this. Maybe we need more level, I don't know. Just for the fun of it, I made it a little bit more R&B kind of thing coming up, but obviously it's not what's going to be on Wednesday. So this is what I meant, right? It's very. To the 6/8 coming up, it actually keeps the same beat of 1, 2, 3, 3. So it's coming up. So the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 becomes 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. But it's the same beat, right? Or the 5. 1, 2, 3. And it goes into something different now. And changing. Some fun there. Yeah. That was that. All right. Any questions, comments about this? Let me know. So yeah, so we were talking about multi-layers and multi-meters, right? There's also odd meters that are very common. So we saw in the dragons piece how the odd meters are there. Yeah. Any questions or comments? Maybe I'll grab my guitar. Yes.
Oh yeah. Gavin wants to ask if there's any tips for practicing odd meters.
Who is asking? Sorry.
This is Gavin again.
Gavin. Hey, Gavin.
Oh, sorry. No, you got it.
Yeah? That's a good question. I played for many years odd meters, but I still work on it. So how would I work on that? I would probably do you play guitar or piano or? Guitar. Okay. So in the piano, if I play a piano, I will probably keep my left hand on just one pattern of. Right now, I'm doing 5, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. And I would keep my left hand, or you could record it on the guitar. So let's say we're doing 2 bars of F minor, 1, 2, 2 bars of G minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. And then I would start with very, very simple. Maybe just playing quarters or just playing on the 1. So 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm also doing the 16th before the 1, right? So really simple stuff. Another good practice is to have something against that. So if I'm in 5, so 3, 4, 5. So I'm 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But my left hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Something like that. So starting really simple, using a metronome, and I'm actually, I took piano lesson with this great New York-based pianist, Dan Tepfer. Many of you probably know him. And he has a double time app, it's called, double time metronome. And what's nice about it is that you can set it up. It really works great with odd rhythms because you can hear the subdivisions. You can. So I would really recommend to read about it, and maybe I think there's a YouTube where he explains how to use it. So I found it really, really helpful to work with odd rhythms. All right.
Yeah. Vincent then wants to ask, I think based on, again, the piece we were just looking at for practicing odd meters, how does the drummer stay with such a simple beat when you've got all these time signatures going all around?
How would the drummer what?
How does he stay with such a simple beat the whole time? I guess you've got it on logic there, but
how would he stay? Well, it is very simple, no? So if you just hear the 1, 2, you hear the big changes, then whatever the subdivisions, doesn't matter. You have the bass drum, snare, bass drum, snare, right? And then, so, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, you just feel it, you just gotta hear it.
Yeah, exactly. So, we talked about, I talked with Kevin, my drummer, so he's like, so should I play it as 5? Or should I, and I'm like, yeah, and 4 and 6 and just, I find that if I talk too much, if I explain too much and give too many details, then a musician can take it too literally and then not and stick to one way and not the other way. And I like musicians to my players to kind of find their own way into it rather than saying, okay, you need to play this bass drum and the accents on the 5 and like that. So I find it the most gratifying to find it together,
Yeah, it's hard to not just say sometimes, you're the drummer, hey, you need to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Many times we figure it out together. So we sit together in rehearsals, and because there are a lot of details, so I say, do you want to try it this way? Do you want? And obviously, if a drummer or other instrumentalist feels comfortable, then it's going to sound good. And if they don't feel comfortable, so it has to be, we need to co-create the parts, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another question here on the topic of odd time still, Vincent asked, which odd time artists have you been influenced by?
Odd time artists. Yeah. Tigran Hamasyan definitely is a great master of playing with odd rhythms. Amazing. Coming from the Middle East, a lot of traditional pieces are in 5/7. So it's also traditionally played. Avishai Cohen, the bass player, is kind of started like a new direction in music that's using all those odd rhythms. So definitely was one of my influences. Egberto Gismonti is a great composer, and he used some odd rhythms. No, maybe not a lot, but yeah. So these are definitely great artists. Probably many more, but that's what comes to mind right now.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Another song that we're going to play on Wednesday is it's in a series of grooves. So this is Groove 2. It's a temporary name. So this one is it's kind of an interesting and fun one to look at if you guys want. Let me see if I have it. So, basically, maybe we don't have to look at the score right now. So the basic, yeah, you can close it. Thank you. The basic idea is in 5, so it's and it's a series of 3 chords. So it's F, B flat, C, right? A very, very common 1, 4, 5. But the only thing is it's in 5, so it'll be so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So now, if I have against that, I have I have dotted eighths. So in my left hand, I have dotted eighths that go with the 5/16. So these not always meet, right? So it starts together, and they meet at the very last one, right? So it takes a few cycles for them to start all over again together on the first chord, all right? So if I start together, let's see how many times that has to revolve. So, sorry. Basically, after it comes back to the 1 right away, so no problem. But what happens if this thing, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What if it rotates between 3 notes? So it has its own 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now we're dealing with a 9 count. So because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And against that, we have the 5s here. So this is going to take way more cycles for it to reach the 1 together, right? So I didn't even figure it out how many cycles. I don't care about it so much. I'm not a mathematician that way. So it's 2, 3, 1, right? So. What's cool about it that every time the 1, when it comes together, it falls on a different bass. So it starts on the C. Okay? Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 against the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, I wanted to make it more interesting. So the next part, I took it half a step higher, the chords, so it'll be. Same chords, basically half a step higher. But the left hand is going to move, instead of dotted eighths, it's going to move in quarters. So it's going to move in a slower pace. And to add to that, it's going to be a phrase of 4 notes. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? So let's try to combine both, and so you guys can listen to the way it's moving. So it's basically, I'm not getting faster or slower. It's just, it's just a few things happening at the same time. So, so I actually feel it as, so I feel the quarters most strongly. So. That's a good practice when you're working with odd rhythms, to have a 5 and to have quarters either tapping or. Right? Quarters are the same. That's groove 2. That's the idea. It has a melody also on top of that that I forget. So basically, it's a 4/4 melody. So it sounds like this. That's that piece. We're going to play it on Wednesday. I think it's a good song to end the set with. So I think it will be the very last song on the set. I have a feeling that we are close to finishing the hour, right? Yeah. So if we have time for any comments, questions, suggestions, ideas, whatever, please let me know. And if not, it's been really fun to do this. I wanted to thank everyone at Coastal. Zach, thank you. James, Carl, Barb, you guys were awesome. And if anyone wants to be in touch to continue a conversation with me, I'll be very happy. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or just in person on Wednesday. Thank you. Bye, guys.